Welcome to today's episode. Today I want to look back at Q1 and where I stand with regards to my annual goals. For those who haven't seen, I linked the video up here, the video about how I set my annual goals and what those goals are. And just as I'm at Microsoft, we have what we call QBR, quarterly business reviews. It's important that in our personal life too, we make checkpoints where we check in with our annual goals. Where do we stand? Do we need to adjust this? What tactic do we need to change to be successful? Success usually doesn't just come automatically your way. One of my goals was to read every week 1 hour in a book. And I mean a book, so I don't count reading time of newspaper articles or tech blogs. It's really from my book reading list, working through these books. When I started out, sometimes I still felt like, oh my goodness, this is, 60 minutes. Sometimes I'm tired when I'm reading. And so I split it up and just set a timer for 30 minutes, read for 30 minutes, and then set the timer again for 30 minutes. And somehow that mentally allowed me to actually do it on the dot. So far I haven't missed a single week. I read at least 60 minutes, never much more, but a minimum of 60 minutes for sure. So it makes me very excited and actually also confident for the coming quarter. Another goal was around biking. You may remember I said I want to make 2,500 miles over this year. That comes down to roughly 50 miles per week. So that's what I set as a goal, 50 miles of bike riding every week. And actually I'm gonna have to look this up just to give you the right numbers. I wrote it down here. Now in Q1 2021, I rode 790 miles, and that's 165 miles ahead of the target where I needed to be for Q1. This is exciting. Now it almost made me so happy that I wanted to adjust my annual target, but I think that might be too early because in Q1 I didn't have any vacation, but in the future, second half of the year, I do hope I get to see my family back home in Switzerland and things like that. So there will be some travels where I'm not riding the bike, so I'm not yet adjusting my annual target. Also interesting, when I investigated or looked at the data, what I wrote this quarter, I looked back what I wrote in 2020 Q1. And in 2020, I rode a total of 337 miles, but 127 miles of them were my commute to work with the bike. That was before COVID, when I still commuted. So that gives me roughly 210 miles that I rode in the first quarter of 2020 versus 790 miles this quarter. So we're off to a very great start, also very confident that I can achieve this goal, and we're just a few weeks out from our first 100 mile that we're gonna do this year. Another goal was to post one YouTube episode every single week. That will be 52 episodes over this year. Now looking back at Q1, I'm one episode ahead then of every week. I made this special edition for Ignite, which surprisingly had quite a few viewers, which made me very excited and also makes me positive to keep the momentum going and going forward. What I really enjoy about this goal is it forces me really to figure out what am I going to record this week? What am I going to do this week? And so even outside of the reading, outside of learning at the job, it forces me to learn new things, like the episode I did about how to save money, cost management, or networking. Those were topics, I did some research, put content together to show it to you. Now, the one goal where I fell short is on the amount of subscribers. I set out to wanted to have 1,000 subscribers over this year. This goal is a little bit twofold this year. Plus, I promised my wife not to buy more gadgets for producing these videos before I hit that magic number of 1,000. Now, when I look at the data, and there is not that much data to be fair, because Google Analytics doesn't give you everything about demographics, etc. if you have under certain viewer numbers. So it's not that, let's say, as much data as I wished I had, but there is still a few things that were clear from it. One thing was that when I post on Sunday, I don't have that big of a reach than if I posted older videos during the week. So I moved from Sunday releasing the new episodes to Wednesday morning. I do have a bigger reach if it's just after midnight here, Seattle US West Coast time. And so they're going out just after midnight. So I moved it now for a few weeks, instead of Sunday release to a Tuesday release. It's too early to say I really saw an uptick, But I've noticed over these past few weeks that my tweets and LinkedIn posts get more reactions or more reach on Wednesday. So I'm eyeing even of moving it from Tuesday to Wednesday, but I haven't made up my mind yet if I want to do it or not. Also, I looked at the content, what content had a lot of, interaction, viewing times, etc., etc. And it turns out there is some contents that I talk about and get, for example, great rating here at Microsoft when I talk to senior executives, that these senior executives don't exactly search on YouTube for these topics. It's not like a topic like data privacy and certain things that are not really looked up. Whereas to the Ignite news, just went off naturally. Or you have things like my comparison with Alexa versus Cortana versus Google, which till today is still the most watched video I ever posted and continues to bring in the most views to my channel so far. So that's definitely an area where I looked at what can I change and adjust, and I'm gonna make these adjustments or started already making it to drive that up. I'm not super excited about it or super confident, but I do believe it's with many things you have like this critical mass you have to reach, and maybe subscribers will jumping up after that. But if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel, it would mean a lot. And if you don't mind, click the little bell so you get notified when I post a new episode. That was it. That was all the goal we discussed in my January edition about how to set goals for the year. If you haven't done it, I highly recommend it. You don't have to create a video, but sit down, look at where you stand, look what you need to adjust, what you can keep on going, or even if you want to stake or increase the goal that you have set and share it with somebody. Could be friends, could be your spouse, just anybody in your family, but that helps you to be accountable, just as I know you will keep me accountable. And if there's any topics you'd like me to cover that I can make my content more engaging, I tried different things with B-rolls, other things, just let me know what you like or what you're interested in, and I'm happy to try to put something together for you. And with that, D-Dave Kurt out.